Okay, let's see if it works. I have to let it sit for a bit, unfortunately. Alright, there we go.
Alright.
So, welcome everyone. We're doing another tier list because I couldn't think of another topic because Late Night CJ popped in and said we need to make a video. So, what we're doing is that we're going to be having the main villains tier list for one.
Mm-hmm.
How would I go about explaining this? This is mainly them proposing of their character, how they are as an antagonist / villain, or if they're primarily just an antagonistic force within the universe.
And just so y'all know, he's talking about AKA Sweet Daddy in the streets.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's start off. We're just gonna go in the order that they're presented to us. I think it's fairly obvious which each of the tier is. S means they're a good character and a good villain. D obviously being like they're probably just poor in both fields, or they focus on one primarily over the other. So say if one's just a villain but has no personality whatsoever, or if they're just an antagonistic
force. A top
force.
tier one would be like say in movies would be like Freddy Krueger, like how he's a villain and he has personality because he's funny. He says little lines.
A bit of both, yeah.
But what about somebody like Blade?
Blade, well, not as a villain, as a character, he kind of expresses himself within the movie, just having like that cheeky little smile, like during the club scene.
Yeah, like when he caught the baby, he's like, Coochie Coo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it'd be funny little scenes like that, or they do their job incredibly well.
Okay.
Now, with this one, they did combine old timeline and new timeline, so characters who exist in both, or show up in both, like say Shang Tsung and Shao Kahn. I'll have to take into account both, where someone who primarily only appeared in the old timeline, I only have to look at their previous achievements, or lack thereof. So first we're going to start with Frost, or as some people call it, female Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
As an antagonist, she kind of sucks at doing her job. She wants...
Tell them how you really feel. Yeah.
Frost as an antagonist would go probably, why is B higher than C? Why is she higher than B? Hold up. There we go. That was weird. Frost would probably be a poor antagonist because she pretty much fails at everything she does. Like, the only unique thing about her now is that she's cyberized, but Sub-Zero already did that in Mortal Kombat 9. So essentially, all she is walking in Sub-Zero's shadow, other than just being more psychotic and being a female version of him.
You know, they gotta represent for the ladies. You know what I'm saying? That's how they expand the culture. They can't just have all dudes or have just one female character out there. I get it.
But again,
they could have been more creative though.
A bit more creative because again, she's just female Sub-Zero, and every task she's in the old timeline, she tries to usurp Sub-Zero. She fails, gets encased in ice. She tries again, yet she fails again, and this time she's just sealed within the temple. Then, in the new timeline, she tries to usurp Sub-Zero again, fails, gets kicked out of Lin Kuei, joins the main antagonist of Mortal Kombat 11, gets turned into a cyborg, and then dies at the end of the story.
Oh, well.
Unceremoniously. She basically gets...
Like a fail.
Yes. She's unceremoniously killed off in that story. Moving onwards to Rain. Rain's gonna sit in B tier because... Hold up. As an antagonist, he works, but he always kind of has like that kind of secret scheme kind of going on for him. But it also doesn't really work because we see him in 9 as a DLC character, so he's not really there. And as an antagonist, he wants to gain notoriety and respect among his peers, mainly because at first he didn't know of his godly heritage. Because
Prince?
Rain. Rain. He wears purple. Yes, it's a reference to Prince.
Purple Rain. But we'll go there, you know.
As the character, he was the bastard son. That's actually what it's called.
I know.
The Edenian Protector of the Realm. I forget his name at the time. I really do forget his name, but he was a Protector of the Realm.
And you'll probably be able to go back and put it on the screen.
I will probably put it
now.
Or I can look it up right now to say, oh, this is his dad. I
Well,
don't.
you can go back and
He's
do it
we'll
when you
do
edit
it in
it.
post, whatever.
Yeah.
It's my bad. I know I'm more knowledgeable, but I just can't think of things on the fly.
Right.
But as
This
soon as
impromptu show.
yeah, as soon as Rain found out his head of this, he wanted more notoriety, more respect. He wanted more power. He's like, I'm a god. I'm above you peons. You will respect me.
Respect my house.
Except, in the old timeline, he doesn't get to it because in the Battle of Armageddon, everyone gets killed off except Raiden and Shao Kahn, and then Shao Kahn kills Raiden before he resets the timeline.
I thought Raiden was. Oh, he was a god.
Yeah, he was a god protector of Earthrealm. They changed that around in 11 because people wanted to change terminology and they don't know how to write.
It is what it is.
So as an antagonist, he's kind of just saying because he's off to the side. He only really fails because bad writing. Because if you're not playing as the character in 10 or 11 or 9, they pretty much suck all the time.
Remember, I said that too. We had in a different podcast. I'm like, to me, story is important. It can't just be fights and moves and graphics. There has to be some kind of premise behind it.
A good story.
Yes.
The thing is, with 9, 10, and 11 for Mortal Kombat, as you as playing as the character, you're invincible. You can never lose.
Okay.
But if you're not the player character, your character can be smacked around, one-shotted, beating the cutscene. Like for example, in Mortal Kombat 9, Johnny Cage is able to take on Baraka, Reptile, a few other fighters, Kano.
Baraka, my favorite player. But go ahead.
Yeah, he's able to take them all at once. But when he's later on in the story, he's just being left and right by everyone. Granted, you could say each of these characters are more powerful, but that kind of explains the point. That not until 11's aftermath where the villains actually started winning in actual fights rather than in cutscenes.
Okay.
But again, Rain only really loses. We were getting off track. Rain only really loses because of the story plot progression, and he was brought back in 11 as a DLC character. I didn't play him, but for everyone who's happy for him, okay. He doesn't achieve his goals. He has some ulterior motive, but fortunately he's kind of a B because we never see the results of it. And because he was added in later, we don't see it. This is the type of
thing that will happen when you have so many characters over decades now of a game. So there will be some people lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. Tanya. She's another Edenian character.
Tanya.
She was the character in Mortal Kombat 4 who basically betrays everyone. She betrays...
Was that,
No, you know the realm, Edenia, the realm that Katana and Jade come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like them, except she's evil. She's going to sit in B tier again because...
Is she pretty?
I guess.
Because I remember Jade in there.
Hey, Jade! Hey, baby! Oh my goodness. Anyways,
go ahead.
As an antagonist, she's
kind
of
got that green.
She's more of a follower character than anything else.
Okay.
So
it makes her lame.
Huh?
So she's pretty lame as a character.
Kinda. She pretty much only sticks around with the quote-unquote strongest villains to ensure her survival. Like, even in her ending in 10 as a DLC character, she betrays Rain to make sure that she can survive.
Right.
So we don't see anything resulting past that. And thus, she's kind of just an orbiter character, a satellite character, for pretty much main antagonists like, say, Melina in 10 until she's killed off.
Right.
And in 4, she was a orbiter, she was a servant of Shinnok, only to make sure she survived.
I do have a question.
Alright.
Where is Chun-Li on this list?
Oh my god! You had to go back there.
I did.
But, yeah. In fact, as an antagonist, she doesn't really even do her job well. Because let's go to a game where you directly fight her, and she has minor story importance being 10 and Deception. In Deception, she guards Queen Sindel, and Shujinko, an old man in his 60s, and we can assume Tanya's thousands of years old at this point.
Right.
If not thousands, probably hundreds at the very least.
Old as hell.
Old as hell, but looks relatively young. He gets beat up by a 65-year-old man.
Right.
But then again, that man has like 20 different fighting styles that he can beat you up with, so fair enough.
Right.
But as an antagonist, she's a satellite character. She's actually I'm going to put her into C tier. So she's
C tier is what, like mid-low?
Mid to low. Not low, but...
Mid-low?
Yeah, you know
Middle
what?
old.
I feel like she's a better antagonist because she can at least like quote unquote get more done in her endings, and she kind of just survives off her own, whereas Frost just gets kicked around every single time for the sake of the story. But yeah, she's gonna be sitting in C, but I do like her more than Frost. Moloch as a character now.
Is that the one that had
The chain ball. Yeah. You remember him.
Yes, I do.
Because in Deadly Alliance, he was the sub-boss character.
And he used to beat the brakes off of you.
Now,
No,
as an antagonist, he's also kind of going in D, because he's another satellite character. Of course, he's a minion. He's employed by Shang Tsung, I believe, in Deadly Alliance as a backup plan, just in because everyone in Mortal Kombat history, everyone's a villain, plans to betray someone else.
Yeah, that's how it
So,
goes. That's how it goes.
Moloch as a character, yeah, he's a big buff monster Oni who eats people.
Yeah.
So he has more.
Sound like me, I kill people.
He's definitely more threatening than your like average like antagonist.
You know what I do remember about Moloch
Mm-hmm.
is that it's all gas, no brakes. And what I mean by that is I remember what he looked like. I remember, you know, with the chain and the ball. But as far as the personality, it didn't stick out. And
He's an Oni. He's like.
And that's probably why it didn't carry over beyond that one game.
Yeah, he's an idiot. Well, not an idiot in like the traditional sense.
Tell about how you really feel about him.
He's not like a typical idiot, but he's definitely not smart
Like
because
a
he needs
dumb
a
jock.
essentially because he's like, oh, we need a device in order to go feed on the humans that we captured, but he needs someone else to do it, but so he doesn't know how to operate it in a sense. Granted, we never see that device, so we never see what it is, how difficult it is, or if it's super complicated. But he seems to willingly follow other people who employ him. Granted, you pay him in humans or whatever. Flesh. But as a boss character, he's not as comparable as Kintaro, Goro, Motaro. Granted, you saw those characters first, but him being hunched over and thus probably not even having the same level of power, because he can be fought off by Scorpion, who's definitely not the most powerful character in Mortal Kombat, but definitely a favorite. Scorpion. He was fought off, but as soon as Draman showed up, 2 against 1, it's kind of unfair. But as antagonist and design, pretty much, he kind of falls
Would you
into
say Scorpion and Sub-Zero are like the Ryu and Ken?
Yes. Yeah, they are.
Say no more.
They are. They're the ones plastered on the covers. They're the ones most recognizable from the series, next to Liu Kang, even though Liu Kang's like the hero of the series. Now they also have the Revenants, which is essentially just a zombie version of characters. All the Revenants pretty much go into D tier, because if I can find all of them, they have no personality other than...
who are some of them?
You have Revenant Jade, Kitana, Liu Kang.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute.
Hold up, let me finish.
I know you not talking about Jade.
I said Revenant. Basically means they are angsty, violent versions of themselves who reasonably have reasons to be mad.
Jade is off limits. You cannot talk. She is too fine.
They're dead zombies. So.
Okay, well, when you put it like that, I mean...
I do not see Revenant, Kung Lao, or Jax on this list. Then again, my eyesight might be poor. I don't know.
You know, Kung Lao, when he came out,
Cabal.
he was one of my favorite ones.
Okay, we have Cabal in there. But I don't see any others. Maybe they're missing. I don't know. That's kind of strange. Yeah, all the Revenant characters in this game are going to be in D tier because essentially they're just satellite characters, especially in 10 and 11, where they just hover around the main villain, and they constantly lose. Granted, Liu Kang might just go into C or B tier because he has that freaking smile where he looks so smug.
But isn't Kung Lao, he came in on 2.
He came in 2.
That's what I remember. He was my favorite. Cut you in half with his hat.
Yeah, but yeah, unfortunately not all the Revenants are on here. We have Revenant Jade, Kitana, Sindel, and...
Sindel was trash.
Cabal and Liu Kang, but Liu Kang's only higher above because he actually does slightly more than everyone else. If you look into Aftermath, he captures Fujin, Shang Tsung,
You know what?
and Nightwolf.
They dropped the ball with Liu Kang. Because remember, one of them, he's dead, he's a zombie, you gotta go find him. Then he comes back.
There is the reason why they killed off Liu Kang was to show how dangerous and powerful the Deadly Alliance were. Because they were able to take out the two greatest threats to them on both evil and good, being Shao Kahn and Liu Kang. If they could take out those two, who can realistically challenge them? And that's the point of Deception in the intro, where everyone gets smoked by them.
But then where's Cyrax at?
Cyrax is actually a villain on this list.
Oh,
Okay, there's two versions of Cyrax. He's both a hero and a villain, but they're going by his cyberized form in 9 and in the past, before he became good. As a villain, he's just a robot. He follows orders.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only reason he's going into B is because he hasn't done anything really egregious to do that. He has a cool moveset, but the same moveset can be done by human Cyrax, and Naya has an alternate skin who actually uses like smoke bombs.
They have a human?
Yeah, they have a human version of Cyrax.
Where is that?
He's not on this list, but he does exist.
What game is he on?
Mortal Kombat 9, and technically 4 in his ending, where he becomes more of a actual cyborg, where you can see his face and all that.
I don't remember none of this.
But yeah, in 9 it was an alternate costume. That's why.
Okay.
In 9 and 10, he just appears as a robot.
It wasn't one of them costumes like how they had Johnny Cage in the soccer.
No. But yeah, the only reason Revenant Liu Kang's in B tier because he has that smug smile and he actually accomplishes more.
Who is in B tier?
Revenant Liu Kang, because he has a smug smile.
Yeah.
And the fact that he actually accomplishes more than like the average Revenant, who typically always loses.
Well, for people that are out there that are like me and may not know exactly what you're talking about, what is a Revenant?
This is another problem that they've done with the story. In the old timeline, there was wraiths, vengeful spirits like Scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
You actually had ghosts because Liu Kang in Deception taught Shujinko as a ghost, like literal ghost.
Right.
And so on and so forth. You had different types, but everyone, since they put all the necromancy on Quan Chi this time, they just made everyone Revenants, even though Scorpion, I believe, was a Spectre. And they said New Cybot, who is a Wraith, is now a Revenant, even though he's not. But, so on and so forth.
Right.
Cyrax is also in B tier, because he hasn't done anything too bad other than lose. But he was a villain at the time, and he's only had, 3 fights as a villain, thus he lost most of them. But when he gets brought back, and he regains his sanity, in a sense, he does great, hopeful side. But we're talking about villains, not them as heroes.
Right. Blaze, I remember. He was the final boss, so which one?
Armageddon.
As
an antagonist, he's perfectly fine. He was literally created for one purpose.
I know as his animation, he was kind of trash, though.
Well, yeah, because at the time, he's just a big hulking monster. Of fire. He does have a cool theme, though. I do personally like it, but if I used it right now, I personally would probably get copyrighted.
Again.
But I might do it just because I really don't care. Or if it does change, I'll just come back and change it in post.
Right.
So Blaze, he's perfectly serviceable as an antagonist because he's not evil like every other character on this list. He's not evil. He's literally just there as a force to the hero Taven to prevent Armageddon from happening.
Mm-hmm.
However, in his own ending, due to him being captured by Onaga's holy men, he was corrupted, and I believe in his own ending in Armageddon, he becomes so powerful he leads to Armageddon.
Right.
And in the new timeline, Shao Kahn kills him. But in the original one, I believe it was Taven. He defeated him, and it had a third unaltered effect, where the first effect was to get rid of everyone's powers, kill them. I think it made them stronger if you play through arcade ending with Taven.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we made everything worse.
Yeah, that happens.
But as an antagonist, he's fine. He's just an annoying boss. He's a big hulking monster. You can't do combos on him. He's perfectly serviceable, so he kind of sits, I guess, in the middle of C tier.
Mid-low?
Middle, he's perfectly as a final boss, you had to have a big hulking monster in Mortal Kombat in recent years, with the exception of probably Shao Kahn and Kronika.
Well, you know what, Shao Kahn had that big old sledgehammer though.
He had a sledgehammer, and he had frame 1 shoulder charge that you can't really bluff.
I hated that. Especially when he just start doing it when he
just do it over and over.
Yeah, how does the computer spam you? You know what I mean? That's usually like Six's go-to move, not the AI.
The AI. Well, if you're going back in time for Shao Kahn, he would personally be there just to take your money. But moving on, we have Onaga. Personally, Onaga's the Dragon King. He was a big old dragon dude.
What does he look like? You got him right there on the screen.
I have him right here, like this tight corner in the left.
Oh yeah.
As an antagonist, he definitely serves his role.
Which one was he in?
He was in Deception.
You gotta make sure you let the people know, man.
He was in Deception, and he serves his role, and he definitely makes a very good first impression when you first meet him.
I remember him.
In the intro, Shang Tsung and Quan Chi, they have defeated everyone. Raiden's down. Everyone else is dead. And they're about to fight. Quan Chi's about to kill Shang Tsung. Then Onaga walks up in there.
Yeah.
And he commands an army of undead warriors that he can constantly revive. Now, also this. Quan Chi tries to attack him. He does nothing. He literally shrugs it off and just keeps walking through the battle. Shang Tsung gets up, joins in. He keeps walking through the blast.
Yeah.
Then Raiden gets up and he tries to help, and he's still going.
Sound like me.
Now,
kill people.
And then Raiden's like, oh snap, we can't do anything. So Raiden decides to suicide bomb the whole thing, the whole palace that they're in.
Kamikaze.
Blow it up, everything. He walks out perfectly fine.
Boom, 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 boom.
So, and throughout the story, and through years, I believe, 60 years of manipulation of Shujinko, a kid who was about Atrocity's age, my younger brother, he manipulates him for 60 years of his life to collect all these items so that way he becomes the supreme ruler, fuse everything into realms, and so he basically rules over everything.
Facts.
So as an antagonist, he does do his job. However, he does lose to Shujinko, but then again...
Would you say he's like a flawed OP?
Not really. He's OP for the right reasons, because how you gonna fight a dragon man who can control undead armies? But then again, he also gave an old man the power to learn every fighting style, and when everyone gives him his powers at once, he kind of got curb stomped.
That's how that works.
But as an antagonist, he does do his job. He's a big hulking monster. That's kind of the norm from Mortal Kombat around the 3D area. And he was serviceable. He was a planner. He was killed by Shao Kahn, but Shao Kahn poisoned him because he couldn't take him up in a straight-up fight. So that proves that Onaga is stronger than Shao Kahn. At least
there's no rules in fighting.
In pure physical strength, then yeah, Onaga is strong.
Poison. You gonna get this poison. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it in some popcorn.
Okay, so as an antagonist, yeah, he's good. He's an A. He's only canonically, I believe, had 1 to 2 losses. The second one I'm unsure of because we don't know how Shao Kahn got away from Onaga. Whether he killed him or he was able to escape, we don't know. Most people go with the fact that he killed him. I want to go with the fact that he escaped because he couldn't take Onaga in a straight-up fight before, even if he amassed all this power.
Who created these games?
Midway, I believe, created them originally. The NetherRealm Studios created 9 through 11.
Let me see. I think I'm gonna tweet.
Oh my goodness. Don't. Anyways, moving on to our next antagonist, Dagon. Being the primary antagonist.
Which one was he?
He was one of the primary antagonists of Mortal Kombat Armageddon. He's the brother to Taven. I remember their father's name now. It was Argus. Taven, Dagon, and Rain are all brothers, but Rain is technically their half-brother. Because Argus, being a god, met mortal woman, got her pregnant. That's why Rain has a huge superiority complex and wants to rule over everyone. But Dagon kind of has the same thing. He was woken up too early though because his father and their mother put him on the quest to save the realms. But his guardian woke him up too early, so thus he was changed and infuriated. So he went back to Adenia, killed his parents, and then built an organization. Built an organization so that way he could track down his brother, kill him, and thus he would be the one to complete the quest because he wants full godhood, because he is just a demigod at this point.
Alright.
Or half-god if you want to be more technical. So, as an antagonist, he does serve his role. He's constantly kind of slipping away, and he's always around other people. But he's definitely afraid of other antagonists like Shinnok, who, while fallen Elder God and definitely not one of the best villains, is still someone he's like afraid of, even if he's probably on around the same strength by that point in the game.
Right.
Not around the same strength, but probably around Taven's strength. And Shinnok respects him, so on and so forth. He only loses. What does he look like again?
Yeah.
He's that guy right here who I have a cursor. They can't see the cursor.
Okay.
So as an antagonist, he's perfectly serviceable. For some, due to the way Armageddon works, Taven already has his sword at the beginning, even though he's not supposed to.
Right.
He's not even supposed to really receive his sword until the end. But due to the way it works, they can't have Taven going off most of the game being handicapped. So.
Understandable.
But as Dagon's fighting style, he has both their swords, is being of a slightly different design, so he fights with them at the same time. And Argus is kind of biased against it, like I didn't want him to win because he didn't deserve it, and in fact he killed me. To be fair though, I probably would be upset at that too.
That's how that works.
But as an antagonist, he's only lost one fight, so kind of like by default that puts him above other characters because he's only lost one.
Let me see. I'm almost there, sir. I'm about to find them, and I will definitely tweet.
I don't like Twitter. Don't say I didn't say anything.
Okay, well, I'm going to tweet him, and I'm going to ask him. I'm like, oh, here we go.
No! Anyways, moving on to the next villain. We have Kintaro. Now, as a villain, Kentaro, if you look at supplemental material, Kentaro gets killed off in the Mortal Kombat X comics.
Which one was he?
He was the cat version of Goro that could breathe fire.
Tiger dude.
As an antagonist, I probably will put him up in B tier because I feel like he was definitely more difficult.
I found him.
That was Mortal Kombat vs. DC, but anyways.
No, it's Midway Games. That's just their.
Aren't they defunct now? Because they went out of business.
Listen here, man.
They're not the ones. It's NetherRealm Studio who create them now. Anyways, Kintaro as an antagonist is fine. He's another satellite character who just serves Shao Kahn, mostly out of fear because, to be fair, if I saw someone like Shao Kahn, I'd probably be afraid too.
Oh, you mean these people?
Oh my goodness.
I found them.
Why are you doing this?
I am going to tweet them, and if they respond, I will definitely. Who is Ed Boon?
He's the guy who helped create Mortal Kombat back in the day.
Okay, bam, follow him. Yeah.
I'm trying to do this, you know.
Man, I'm trying to help, man. We got
This takes up a lot of space on my computer, okay?
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Like, we're not
What was the question that we had?
I'm not going to give you the question.
I'm gonna, you know, all right. All right. See what happened next. Yeah.
Kintaro.
I'm gonna make you a hot sauce cookie, and I ain't gonna tell you till you bite into it. How about that? Yeah, sweet daddy.
You won't even do that. You ain't gonna poison the whole thing.
I didn't say poison.
You ain't gonna do that. Anyways,
okay. Hot nuts.
Kintaro, antagonist, perfectly fine, serviceable. He's a satellite character because if everyone wants to work on Shao Kahn, this dude who's huge and tall beat up other races. I'm like, alright, yeah, I'll follow him.
Yeah.
So he replaces Goro after Goro was presumably killed in Mortal Kombat 1.
Right.
He wasn't. And he serves as the sub-boss to Shao Kahn. And as a sub-boss, he's definitely very difficult, but you can cheese him out with certain characters. That's probably Atrocious taking a shower.
To go swimming?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
You hit the shower before and after to wash off the corn.
Yeah, but alright.
Anyways, yeah, Kintaro, he's just fine. He has really no personality other than giant angry kitty man.
Yeah, I really believe sometimes with these games, in an attempt to be forward thinking, they end up stepping on their own selves. I'm gonna tell you like this. It's just like the term, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I do understand expansion. You know what I'm saying? To take it to the next level. But I think that has been their problem. Well, for me, that has been a problem for them. It's like we play these games specifically for certain things, and it's not new characters. Yeah, okay, a new character up there adds a different dimension and dynamic to the game. But that's not what makes me say the new Mortal Kombat 12 is coming out. That's not what makes me do that.
Because if we look at it, most of the time when Mortal Kombat adds new characters, they don't do it all that well most of the time. They become background characters, or they are characters
Extremely.
Look at Collector, for example, from Mortal Kombat Limited. He has low personality other than serving Shao Kahn and doing his job. That's all his personality is. He wants to rise above his station, and that's how he was, but he gets purge stomped. He doesn't win a single fight.
Yeah.
And the only people he kill are nameless jobbers that serve under Kodo Khan.
And that's what I'm saying.
I mean, he's a fun character to play, sure, but as a personality and as a villain, he sucks.
Think about this. Every time a new Mortal Kombat comes out, what's the first player you go and grab?
First player?
Mm-hmm. When a new one comes out, and you turn that game on, and it comes on,
and it
says choose a player. Which player do you always go and get?
I know for a fact for Atrocitus it was Scorpion.
Okay.
For me, I believe I tried out Johnny Cage first.
You see what I'm saying? Those are originals. Nobody says, oh, let me scroll through and see what they have on here. It's like, no. So therefore, there has to be some merit to keeping
older characters, right?
Well, your core audience. Because, I mean, let's be real. At this point, the game is almost 25 years old.
The series, not the game.
Well, the series is 25 years old. Yep, because I was in high school at the time. So it's over. It's like 27 years old. I'm going towards 30 years of this series. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, people from my era still are fascinated by it. Of course, you get new people that come in like yourself and your brothers and all of that.
I've been around since the old time.
But who gets hyped up? People from my era. People
from your era. I get hyped up for certain characters. Like, oh, look, are they back? Are they gonna play the same? I like some new characters here and there. I do like the new Kombat kids, like the second generation of certain characters. I do like them to an extent, but they're also they don't have a whole lot of time to shine, unfortunately, because they only been around for one game and a comic, and I didn't read the comics, so I didn't want to pay for them, because I didn't have money, because I was a teenager with no job.
Right.
But at the time, it was perfectly fine. But we are getting way off topic.
No. That's the thing about conversations. Sometimes they just take off in different directions. The people are along for this ride just like we are.
Okay, so if I take into account the supplemental material for the new character, Shiva isn't really an antagonist anymore. She was female Shao Kahn.
Oh yeah.
If female Goro, way skinnier, not as buff.
Yeah, I remember her kind of tall.
And she was. Yeah. And she's another satellite character.
And she was fine too for a demon.
Not a demon, but if we go into the past, she was another satellite character like Goro and Kintaro. Well, Goro had way more personality than Kintaro.
She had forearms?
She had forearms.
Yeah. We'll figure something out with them forearms, baby. Yeah. Sweet daddy.
As an antagonist, she really didn't have any integral role other than being around Sindel being her personal bodyguard, which they did take into account for Aftermath, but she's not a villain in Aftermath. She's actually helping Kitana overthrow Shao Kahn because Shao Kahn was a prick who needed to die.
Yes.
But after that,
do.
But she doesn't really do anything outside of it. That's why she's kind of like on the lower end. Because the only reason she's kind of elevated is because they make her OP in her chapter because they have to. Because if you're ever playing a character, they have to win. They cannot lose in their chapter ever. And that's why the villains only win in the DLC or in cutscenes. So unfortunately, like just Shiva's being there. Sector, cool design. As an antagonist, he kind of fails like every other antagonist.
Sector, that was the red one.
He was the red one. He was annoying because he had a weird damage thing you could do in 4.
He had the missiles.
He had the missiles, yes.
And
that teleport.
Cyrax had the net.
Yeah. He had a teleport. He's really good. In the old timeline, he doesn't get killed because Sub-Zero comes in, reforms the Lin Kuei, kicks his butt, takes his medallion, but Sector, not taking that, goes off to form his own clan of samurais, of cyborgs, to go fight the Lin Kuei. But unfortunately, as an antagonist, he does just like all the time. He also does have a human name as well.
What is it?
Not human name, human form. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Because
I was about to say, what's his name? Leonard?
Yeah, he does look pretty cool. I won't deny I like his human form more. And he was pushing for more of the cyberization than everyone else, besides like the Grandmaster. But he's also a prick because he murdered the Grandmaster, took his medallion in the new timeline, same as the old one. Still got his butt kicked by Sub-Zero, except Sub-Zero came back and killed him this time.
Jesus. That sound like me. I need to be in the game. Kill people.
And then his his memories were preserved over 20 years because they kept his head around and they fed oxygen to it. It was probably more than that, but as a villain antagonist, he's fine. He actually does more than others because he actually goes off and does his own thing, at least for a while, even if it's to get back at Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
And I do like his human design. He actually has a tiny bit more personality, but tiny.
Yeah.
Ferritor, moving on to our next ones.
You know what? I'm going to have to get us some cameras.
Probably.
I think some cameras is definitely the next step. But go ahead.
Ferritor is an
We have to start wrapping this up because I'm going to take the challenges to swim practice here in a second.
And plus, I'm also running out of time.
Yeah.
We're not even close
you
to
got
being done.
class?
No. I have time limit on this because I can only record. I can record up to almost an hour, but due to the way it works, I can't really do that. Right. Ferritor is D tier. They're
which one's that?
They're like the one Six used to use all the time, where it would be like that giant hulking man, the little girl on top who would just.
Oh yeah, she jump off and I remember that.
I don't
hated it.
They, as a character, they have no character other than the fact they're in like a symbiotic relationship, because symbiotic.
Oh, okay.
Like one's a rider, one's like the fighter. Okay. One gives commands and the other fights for them.
What was that? On the Ninja Turtles, the brain that was in the body.
Kinda, not really, but something similar to that. Because in their ending, Tor dies, a big old hulking monster, and Farrah becomes the big hulking monster and gets a new rider.
I'm looking at the list. Nobody's made it to God tier on
S tier. Onaga's the closest one. I feel like we only have, realistically, like 3 characters who are going to be in there.
And that would be?
That would be for next time.
That would be for next time. So, this is Late Night CJ, a.k.a. Sweet Daddy in the streets.
And we'll catch you guys later, because we are running out of time.
Yes, sir.